case.
All parties in the matter, Pounders versus Mansour. Step forward, please.
28-year-old student Sarah Pounders is suing her former friends, Tamer and Michelle Mansour, for the unpaid balance on a Saturn SL1. The couple claims Sarah forgave the debt.
Miss Pounders, you violated one of my first rules of life. You sold a used car to friends. Right?
Well, frenemies, yes.
What did she say?
Frenemies.
Friendemies?
Yeah, I was kind of making a joke. You know how friend and enemies, the word together is frenemies.
Only Bird makes jokes here. Okay, when did you sell them the car?
On March 4th of this 2004.
What kind of a car was it?
A 1997 SL1 Saturn.
Car that you liked?
Yes.
Thought it was a good deal?
The deal was good. It worked out good because she would let us make payments, and we were in the process of buying a house, so it worked out really good.
So it was a good deal?
Yes.
So why didn't you finish making the payments?
Because Oliver and me used to be...
That's Oliver.
Correct. We used to be really good friends, best friends for a while, and I used to live in the same apartment complex as Sarah. They ended up being friends, they were dating for a while, and then they broke up. And then in between, when I saw Sarah on and off, she would always say, oh, I miss Oliver, I miss Oliver. One day, me and my wife were talking, we really needed to get a second car, and so we coincidentally came home and saw a for sale sign on Sarah's car. And I went and talked to her. Oliver was with me that day when I went to see her, so she was excited to see him.
Get to the point. You bought the car.
Well, it leads up to, because it's hard to, when we got home, there was a note on our door from Sarah saying that I'll take $200 down and I'll take $200 a month. You don't have to pay it on the first. If there's a problem with the car, you can take it off the payments, and that was it.
Show me the note.
I don't have the note on me, but I don't think she denied the fact that she wrote it.
Yeah, I wrote him a note, something like
And
that.
what was said in the note? Let's see if we agree what the note said. That she would take $3,600.
Yes.
Take payments of $200 a month.
Certainly.
That you didn't have to make the payments on the first of the month.
Right.
And that if there was something that went wrong with the car, they could deduct that from the money.
Right.
That was an idiotic thing to say.
I know, I agree.
But you agree that you wrote it.
Yes.
What else did the note say?
That was the most important part. The rest was just...
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So you decided to buy the car.
Yeah.
Now I got the backstory. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Get on with it. Why did you stop making payments on the car?
Later on, me and Sarah were talking on the phone, and she said, oh, I'm so happy that you hooked me up with Oliver that I'm not worried about it. You can just keep the car. Word for word.
And you said, don't be ridiculous. We had an arrangement. I'm glad that you and my friend Oliver are back together again, and I wouldn't think of taking advantage of our friendship like that. Of course I'm going to continue to make payments. At what point in the conversation did you say that, sir?
I didn't say that, because Sarah doesn't need to worry about money. She's a trust fund baby.
Maybe that's why you think that you didn't have to pay her.
I didn't have to pay her because she said that.
Did you say that to him?
I absolutely did not.
Absolutely not. If she wanted to give you the car, she would have given you the car. I don't believe you.
Well,
I don't believe you.
her,
And you want to know something? If I don't believe you, then you're a liar.
Well,
Because it doesn't
make...
make... Oh, yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No.
And not only that, but you're
You
not
don't know Sarah
honorable.
either.
Not only that, but you're not honorable. What do you want to show me?
I am honorable because after
He's
that,
on
I
probation
continue to
for
pay
breaking
it.
into a car and attempting to steal it. And
Hey,
oh, I thought you motioned for me. Sorry. Okay.
I don't do much around here. Let me do that.
Can I make a comment?
Mm-hmm.
He took the title out himself, filled it all out, and told me, this is what you do, you sign here. I know all about selling cars, Betty, it's all right, you can trust me, you're my buddy. And he told me that if I were to sign, I would still be the legal owner of the car. He would just have to do that to insure the car. And that's why I signed it, because I trusted him as my friend.
He's a slick liar, and he signed this bill of sale. Did you sign this bill of sale?
Yes. Sarah's a habitual liar herself. She followed the Grateful Dead concert
Is she
for
a
2
felon?
years.
Is she
No.
a convicted felon?
But she's an acid
That's just
person.
it. Is she a convicted felon?
No, but she does acid.
When you went, listen to me, when you were arrested by the police and you appeared before the court for the first time, did you enter a plea? I'm speaking to you.
I refuse to answer that question.
Oh, God, listen to me. Don't sell anything to friends. You always wind up the short end of the stick, especially when you're dealing with people who have no moral fiber at all. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,900. Thank you.
She thought that she wanted to get all the money up front because her mom threatened to take her trust fund away from her.
No, that's not true.
I don't ever want to speak to her again. She's just a habitual liar. I hope she got what she wanted today.
Hammer did it to himself because it wasn't my choice to make Oliver not his friend.
But I'm not a liar. I'm not a habitual liar. Even after she said that, I still continue to make payments on the car.
The habitual lies, it was just too much to take.
This is case number 226 on the calendar in the matter of Durant versus Lockhart. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Valerie, how old are you, dear?
16.
And the lady standing next to you is your stepmother?
Yes.
And Miss Lockhart is your grandmother?
Yeah.
And you are her?
Mother.
All right, let's see where the story starts. I gather that you were living with your mother at some point. Then you and your mother had some sort of a falling out and you went to live with your grandmother.
No, Your Honor. I was living with my dad and my stepmother. In 2003 is when I moved in with my grandmother.
Is that because you had a falling out with either your father or your stepmother?
It was because I was having trouble in school. And
Whatever. You were having difficulty.
yeah.
So you went to live with your grandma. And while you were living with your grandmother, according to your complaint, your mother was sending some money to put away for a class ring.
Yes.
And then when you left your grandma's house in May of 2004, the grandma kept the money.
Yes.
So you're suing her for the money that your mother had sent for you for your class ring.
Yes. Some of that money was also from my dad. It was my birthday money.
Your grandma says that she did get the money. Your mother told her to keep the money to cover some other expenses that she had. So I have a few questions. How long has Valerie lived with you but for the time she was with her grandmother?
2 years approximately.
And how long have you been married to her father?
Approximately 2 years, 2 to 3 years.
Step up. Your last name is?
Mine is Keel.
Miss Keel, did you send your daughter money?
Yes, I did.
And when you sent her the money, did you send it directly to her?
No, I did not.
Who did you send it to?
I sent it to my mother to be held for a ring.
You sent your mother the letter, and in the letter there was cash or a check.
There was cash.
And the cash was given directly to your mother.
Yes, always.
Is that right?
Yes.
So the money never came to you.
No, but it was meant for my class ring. They both knew that.
Valerie, this is the situation. If your mother sent the money to you, and you in turn said to your grandmother, I want you to hold this for me, then she's just acting like a piggy bank. Do you understand?
The $200 that my dad and my stepmom Teresa had given to me, I went up to Iowa and they had given me $200, and that was given straight to me. And
Okay.
then I gave it to her.
Fine. So then let's not talk about the money that your mother sent to your grandmother. Let's talk about the money that your father and your stepmother gave to you. How much money did Valerie personally hand you and say, Grandma, will you hold this for me for my class ring?
She gave me money, and I don't know exactly how much, to hold for me so we could start her a savings account.
So you don't remember how much that was?
I do know one amount. When her dad brought her back to my house, she spent the week of her birthday in Iowa, and so whatever they gave her up there, I'm not sure. The only money that I know that was given her, because I was standing there at the time, is when her dad brought her home. The stepmother stayed in the vehicle. He came in with Valerie, and in Valerie's bedroom, he said, Valerie, here is $100. Do not tell Teresa. And we were going to start a savings account with all the money that she had received for her birthday.
And how much was that?
I know the $100 there. Her grandmother from Iowa had given her like I think $20, which I guess Valerie thinks that I took the money out of the mailbox, but she was in Iowa the whole week.
How much money did your father give you?
My father and my stepmom gave me $200, and that $200 was given to me in Iowa.
Okay. And how much did you give your grandmother to hold for you?
I gave her $200. She knew that it was for class ring.
It really doesn't make any difference what it's for.
Okay.
You say class ring, she says savings account. It doesn't make any difference. Did you put that money away for her?
No, she took it back.
When did
she spent it?
When did she take it back?
It was probably 2 weeks, and it was not all at once. She kept saying things that she wanted. Then her boyfriend's birthday came up. So I gave her money a little bit at a time. Out of this money that I was holding just in my purse, for her to start a savings account. I wanted her to start a savings account.
Well, what did she say to you, for instance, when it was her boyfriend's birthday?
She wanted to get him a gift.
So what did she say to you?
She said, Grandma, I need money out of the envelope.
So
the envelope,
she knew that the envelope in your purse was the money that she had given you.
For savings account.
Okay.
Which we never started.
Did you say to your grandma, when you needed a present for your boyfriend, I need money from the envelope?
Yes, Your Honor. We had 2 envelopes. One was marked class ring, and one was marked savings account. She had told me that we wasn't going to start a savings account. So I did take money out of the savings account. There was 2 envelopes. I did take the money out of the savings account one.
We're not talking about class ring, my dear. Listen to me very carefully. I want you to clearly understand. The money that your mother sent directly to your grandmother is not yours. Got it?
Yeah.
The money that your father and stepmother gave you as a gift for your birthday was yours. Your grandmother says that you wanted things, money for presents for your boyfriend for his birthday, money for things that you saw that you wanted, and over the course of time, you went into, not you personally, but you said, Grandma, I want the money from that envelope. And you acknowledge that that's true. Now, how much did you take out for things that you wanted?
You don't understand. There was 2 envelopes. One was for the class ring, one was for the savings account. There was $400 in the class ring one. $200 of that my dad had given me and my stepmom, Teresa. There was another envelope because I just had my birthday, and I had got money from other family members and other friends.
How much?
I'm not exactly sure how much was in that one. I couldn't even give a guess for that money. But yes, I did take that money back.
I assume you had difficulty with your father?
Yes.
You're still having difficulty with your father?
No.
Do you live with your father?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Where is he?
He works constantly. He works from the time daybreaks come till the time nighttime comes. That's why I have guardianship of Valerie, and I'm raising her. Nobody has time for her.
You mean you individually without her father, and you share a home with her father?
He works all the time.
I don't care if he works all the time. That's what fathers
Yes,
sometimes
he
do.
works.
They work all the time. So I don't understand why you would have guardianship of her.
Because I'm the one that takes care of her, takes her back and forth to school, takes her to counseling. She sees a psychologist.
She's the only one out of my parents that would take care of me.
Something that is very peculiar to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. 16-year-old Valerie Durant says her grandmother, Jan Lockhart, won't return money she gave her to hold.
Now, what did you... Go ahead.
Can I just please say something? I had Valerie for a year and a half. I went up there Christmas to get her. She had been kicked out of the home by her father and her stepmother.
I assumed.
She walked up a highway carrying bags when she was 14 years old.
I assumed.
I have a statement from the counselor that I took her to that plainly states the very things that Valerie said herself about her relationship with her father and them kicking her out. I have that.
I assume that she
and I went
came to
up
live
there
with you
with
for that reason.
The best of intentions. She wasn't going to school. She was allowed to smoke on the conditions she smoked in the den by the fireplace. She was given wine coolers. Now, this is what I'm told by Valerie.
Okay. Why did she leave your house?
She left my home because it started with her boyfriend. I went to her room, and the reason I have this class ring receipt is because it was in her room, in her hope chest, which I have a letter from Valerie stating that, also stating that she doesn't know how much money there was. I mean, it's just, this is where I paid the $50 down on the class ring. I did have $125 from her mother for the class ring, but the money that Valerie got for her birthday was in Iowa, except the $100 she received from her dad in her bedroom when I was standing right there.
And it's your statement that she
and
spent
it is gone.
Okay. Why did you leave your grandmother's house?
Because me and my boyfriend, we had some trouble. And
What do you mean you and your boyfriend, you had some trouble?
We had sex.
And?
And then she found out about it.
And?
And after that, she wouldn't let me call my dad to ask for him to come and get me.
How old's the boyfriend?
He's 16. She told many people that she was keeping the class ring money to pay for an attorney because she pushed him in church.
She pushed him in church?
Yes.
Ah.
She They never went to court over that, though. But she told me that she was going to keep the money for that. And also, one of the reasons why I left her house was because we was having way too many problems. She wouldn't let me call my dad. So I told her that I was going to the neighbor's house. And then when I went to the neighbor's house, she had called the police on me. And the police came, and she told the police that I had ran away and that I kicked in their door. I was really upset that she would do something like that.
Because she's a bad person. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm just saying, I can't
I'm asking you a question.
I can't believe that a grandma would do that, you know.
You think she was trying to be vicious and mean to you?
Yes, I do, because I did not run away. I told her where I was going.
Just a second. I'm just asking you. You think that she's trying to be vicious and mean to you?
Yes.
Where's the boyfriend?
He's in Arkansas. I don't go out with him anymore.
Why not?
Because I moved to Iowa.
Does he call you all the time?
Not anymore. We used to. He used to call every night at 9.
When did he stop?
After we broke up.
Why did you break up?
Because I was going to school and going to work, and I didn't have time to talk to him.
Oh, I don't believe that, my dear. That's a fib. Going to school and going to work doesn't mean that you can't talk to him at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, so that I don't buy that.
She's not allowed to talk on the phone after certain hours.
Mr. Durant, you are nothing but trouble.
No, that may be.
You are nothing but trouble. What I'm telling you is if you find yourself in the unenviable position of having a 16-year-old that you're in charge of because, according to you, father works all the time and the mother is not capable, I'm going to tell you that you should not, under any circumstances, encourage her or importune her or support her in cutting off ties with a biological family. That is a very stupid thing.
I do not do that.
Very stupid thing. Well, you're being here today. Your being here today suggests to me that you do, because but for your intervention, she could have not proceeded with this case today since you are her guardian for some bizarre reason. So if it were me, I would have said to her, listen, you're not talking about a lot. I don't know how much money your husband sent to Grandma for taking care of her for the year and a half she was there. How many thousands of dollars a month did he send?
$150.
A month?
A month.
A month. You can't feed a large goldfish for $150 a month. So her grandmother supported her, took care of her for a year and a half. Far more than a couple $100 for a class ring. For a class ring, which I don't see why she needs, because she left her grandmother before school was out. Your case is dismissed. Be smart. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It wasn't the $350.
It wasn't about the money.
She has got to learn lessons in her life.
I was just wanting her to feel what she did to me, you know.
That you suffer the consequences for your actions.
Of her lying and stealing from her own granddaughter.
With the parental guidance that she has at this time,
I hope that her conscience gets to her.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I think it's very sad.
I just think it's pretty pathetic that me being an outsider, I have to take care of her.
But regardless, I love her. She'll always be my daughter.
Can't get her own mother to take care of her.
And I always want what's best for her.
It really bothers me. It hurts my heart.
Oh, I'm happy the way that I'm living now.
She knows my phone number.
So, things are just normal for me.
And now Mary Bankston is suing her ex-boyfriend, mechanic Weldon Hultgren, for charges he made on her credit card. Mary says she took Weldon in after he was released from prison.
Now, this is case number 474 on the calendar in the matter of Bankston versus Hultgren. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Bankston, who are these people?
This is April Hultgren, Bo's daughter, and my fiance, Randy.
And who is this?
It's my fiance, Tara Harris.
Everybody brings a fiance. What do they have to do with this case? Anything?
She's seen some stuff and heard some stuff, and other than that, that's about it.
Okay. According to what I read, Miss Bankston, he used to be a friend of yours or a boyfriend of yours?
He used to live with me.
Live with you as a boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
And then he went to jail?
No, ma'am. He lived with me after he came out of jail.
What year did you go to jail, sir?
In January '92.
And how old was April in 1992?
7.
Who did she live with?
When I was in jail, she was living with my mom and my dad.
What happened with that?
They died.
When did they die?
In '96, my dad died, and in '98, my mom died.
What happened in 1998?
She went to live with a friend of mine for a little while, and her mother come got her. After that, Mary went and got her out of a motel room.
How old was she at the time, Miss Bankston?
She was 13 when I took her.
How did you find her in a motel room?
She called me and told me she wanted something she hadn't eaten in a few days, and I took her something to eat. And when I got to the motel, it was a bad place for her to be. And so I took her with me, and I raised her until he got out.
When did you get out?
2001, October 2001.
Were you in communication with Miss Bankston while your daughter was living with her?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you tell her in this communication?
Told her I appreciated everything she was doing for her.
Who was supporting her at the time she was living with you?
I was.
When you got out of jail, Mr. Holgren, where did you go?
I moved in with Mary.
Mary and your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to work?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you start supporting the household?
I was pulling my share, ma'am.
What was he paying for?
He was paying like the electric bills, and I paid the house payment because it was my house before he came along, and he paid the electric bill and things like that. He was pulling his weight as long as he lived there. Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever ask Miss Bankstrom how much she spent on your daughter while you were incarcerated?
No.
Why not?
I don't have any idea why I didn't.
Well, this lawsuit's very simple. It said that at some point you used her credit card after you got out of jail while you were living with her. You used her credit card. You told her you would pay for the bills on her credit card, and you didn't. And you owe her some money, $1,100.
Right.
So?
She got me some credit cards off her account, and went and ate on them and done some stuff on them. I took my boy to World Series, Little League World Series up in Oklahoma on a gas card, and other than that, you know, I was paying them until I left.
And so what happened when you left?
I don't know, it wasn't a good scene.
Did you leave with your daughter or without your daughter?
I left without my daughter.
So you left your daughter there?
No, she wasn't living there at the time, I don't think.
Where was she living?
Living at another place.
Where was she living?
She was living with another friend of ours.
Why?
Her and her father did not get along, so she moved out of the house.
Okay. Can I see the charges that he made?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Would you like all the evidence? Or just
sure.
That?
Golden Corral.
That's an eating establishment.
Japanese Palace.
Another eating establishment. I have several eating establishments that we ate at on my credit cards, too.
Well, this is a lot of eating out.
Been 10 years since I ate out anywhere, so we kind of ate out pretty regularly.
So why don't you pay for it?
Well, I really don't feel like I owe her anything on that, because I've done some other things, you know. I wasn't trying to get anything from her that I've done over there. I mean, you know.
Well, give me an example, sir.
I put a storage building in the backyard. It was like $900-something bucks. I helped put a central air and heating unit in her house. That was labor on there. I put some electrical work in the garage and stuff.
Well, how much do you think it takes to support a teenager, sir? A month?
Quite a bit.
Listen, you know, if you have a large golden retriever, you can't take care of a large golden retriever for less than $100 a month. So
right.
Would you say it costs $200 a month to take care of a teenager?
At least.
Let's try 3.
Yeah, probably.
14 months, right? And she was there 14 months, and you didn't pay any support, right? So why would you stick her with $1,100 worth of bills?
The bottom line is that it was kind of crazy over there. There's several things that happened, and, you know, she wrecked my motorcycle and all that, you know, right there at the end. She wrecked my motorcycle.
She wrecked your motorcycle? I couldn't understand. She wrecked your motorcycle. How'd she do that?
Well, she took off on it and crashed
That he wouldn't even had if I had not had financed it for him.
And I was without the motorcycle for 3 months. I paid $500 a month on that while I was in the shop. $6,500 a month.
Well, did she do that on purpose?
Well, I told her not to get on it because she never rode one before, and she took off on it on her own wheel and crashed it. Hurt herself real bad. You know, and then right before I got the motorcycle, I was going to refinance the motorcycle because she kept hounding me about getting it refinanced,
Because she was on a loan.
Right. And,
well, she asked you to refinance it because she didn't want to be on the loan.
Right.
Well,
so
that sounds right to me.
Well, I finally did that, and the day I was
No,
going
he didn't.
The day I was going to refinance it, she called me and told me that she wasn't going to sign off on that loan until I give her $1,000. And I said, well, I ain't give you $1,000. And I went up there and traded it in and got it out of her name anyway.
What a prince. This is your fiancé. Is there anything you want to say to me?
Yeah, do I need to stand up?
You do.
I just have one comment, and that is whenever he went to refinance the motorcycle last year, he got his credit report and got it back, and it was about that thick, where he only had 4 credit cards in his name that he had gotten since they split up. Well, this had 18 open accounts on it.
We're not talking about the charges for those.
I know, but what I'm saying is...
What's your name?
Tara Harris.
Miss Harris, how old are you?
32.
You have children?
1.
How old?
12.
Who supports that child?
Me and him support him, and I get child support.
Get child support from the child's father?
Yes.
Get child support every month?
No, ma'am.
Every week?
No, ma'am.
How often?
Supposed to get it every month.
Yeah, and what happened?
He's been living at my house. He was with his dad. He's been living with us for the last year.
Oh, so before that he was living with his father?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you paying child support to his father? How often?
Out of every paycheck, weekly.
Now, when you don't get child support from his father, does that annoy you?
Yes, ma'am.
And that child is biologically related to you?
Correct.
And biologically related to his father. How do you feel about somebody who doesn't feel any responsibility to somebody who supports their child for 14 months?
She lived with me for 5 years before he got out.
5 years. And pays for clothes, doctor, shoes, vacation, everything else. And doesn't say, as soon as I get out, I'm going to start paying you back for whatever you laid out, because I know that that's my responsibility. Think that kind of person has good moral fiber?
Actually, I think Bubba does have good moral fiber. He just, he didn't work for 10 years. He didn't have the money.
Well, he does now.
Yes, ma'am, he does, and he
so
greatly
just
appreciates.
Just a second. I don't care if he appreciates. You got to put your money where your mouth is, honey. Appreciating is not good enough. How could you say he's got good moral fiber? He's working now. And if his child was supported by a stranger for 5 years, and not only supported by, but nurtured by, stayed with, took care of when she was sick, whatever else, you start paying that back. You start saying that was my obligation. And because I committed a crime doesn't mean that I don't have that obligation. So instead of not paying her support, now, I'm not talking about a year ago or 2 years ago, I'm talking about now. Instead of supporting your child, to whom he is not obligated in any way legally, you should send that money to her. She's not even suing for that money. I would love for her to do that. All she says is he used the credit card, $1,100, and that he should pay. Don't you think he should pay that too? Minimally.
No, I don't think he should pay that credit card debt.
You think he should pay her for supporting his daughter?
He's probably, I would say that he's probably responsible for that.
Well, she's not suing. She's not suing him for that. She says, I took that responsibility on myself, and I'm not even going to pursue that. I just want what he was supposed to pay me on the credit card when he left. You get my drift.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,100. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I felt he can buy other things. He can buy a new Harley, but he couldn't pay me $1,100 for credit card bills that he charged up.
We're real grateful for her. I mean, I don't know what I've done. If she wouldn't have been there, I don't know where she'd be,
He has somebody else. I have somebody else. We're friends. We have a daughter together.
I'm just glad she's going to get paid, so I don't have to hear him argue anymore.
I will never put nobody on my credit cards ever again.
Personal trainer Raymond DiNardo for misrepresenting the sale of an Incredible Hulk comic book on eBay. Raymond claims James got what he paid for.
Quiet in the courtroom, please. Yeah, it's case number 510 on the calendar in the matter of Lovegren versus DiNardo. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Lovegren, according to your complaint, you did what a lot of other people are doing these days, and you bought something off the internet. What you bought was what you thought was a rare comic book, rare and valuable comic book from Mr. DiNardo, who had put it on the internet. You paid him the money, and when you got the comic book, it turned out to be, according to you, not what you had bargained for. Mr. DiNardo says you got exactly what you bargained for. He sent you the comic book that he had, in fact, advertised on eBay or what?
Correct, ma'am.
What kind of comic book was this, Mr. London?
Your Honor, this is an Incredible Hulk comic book, number 181. To collectors, it's a rare comic. It introduces a major character from Marvel Comics, the Wolverine, which means nothing
right,
except to a comic collector. It makes it very desirable.
You're interested in this? All right, let me see the advertisement, please. They put it up on the internet. Somebody puts it on, so they have this for sale.
This is the actual eBay advertisement.
That's what I want to see.
Nice taste.
Okay. This says, Mr. Donato, and I just want to know if you put this up on the internet. 9.9, the rare, mint, sought-after original. Bidding has ended for this item. Starting bid, $1,200. And then the description. I am looking for a good new home for my issue of The Incredible Hulk, number 181. This book has given me years of enjoyment. I can only hope the new owner gives this treasure the respect and caring it deserves. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Obviously, I'm a novice. I'm not a professional. He's...
Okay, no, listen to me.
Okay.
All I want to know, sir, is this what you put on the machine? On
that is one...
On the computer?
That is one of the items I put on the machine.
Okay.
Not the one that we consummated for price on.
Well, just a second. We're not there yet, sir.
Okay, I'm just clarifying.
No, you're not clarifying at all. You're going to listen to me. You're going to answer my questions, because in the unlikely event that you think that because I don't know a computer from a hole in the wall,
never said that,
you're going to be able to fool. And I don't know a computer from the hole in the wall, but I do know legitimate versus scam. That's what I do know.
There was no scam.
Listen to me, sir. He sent you $1,200. No. How much did he send you?
$1,500.
Okay, so there was a bidding on this.
No, he had called me behind eBay's back, which is against the law.
Okay, so he called, just a second, so he contacted you.
Correctly. After took that off.
What was the date he contacted you?
I think it was November 15th.
Is that when you contacted him?
It would have been the 13th. I probably sent him an email.
Okay, what did you say in the email?
The email basically would say, I see your comic did not sell, and I asked if the book was still available. He sent me an email on November 12th.
Can I see it, please?
The book is still available, and it's got his phone number on it.
So you called him?
Yes, I called him, and it was probably the 15th that we got together on the phone.
Okay, called him, he called you, whatever. You got together on the 15th, and did you make a deal for this comic book?
Yes, and I asked him, one, because as you can see, the picture of that book is a CD comic. A comic like that comes encased in a clear plastic case. It's sealed in here. It is not counterfeitable. It has a barcode. It's registered with the company that grades it.
That's one that you got. That's not this one.
Right. That's just a sample comic, just to show you what it is. I asked him when I talked to him, now this is a CGC graded book at 9.9. He said it was. I said, and you have the receipt for that? And he said he did. That convinced me we were dealing with the real thing.
Okay.
We agreed on the price of $1,500 then, and I wanted to try and pick it up the next day. I called him back.
Because you realized, sir, if you made this deal for $1,500, that was an incredible bargain.
Yes.
Because the value of it was how much?
I figured it could be worth $20,000.
Okay. So you thought that you had some dumb guy who didn't know what he had.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
It happens.
I know it happens. There are a lot of dumb people out there.
Right, and I'm one of them because
right.
I sent them the money.
Because you got a piece of junk and he's got your $1,500.
Right, exactly. Yep.
Go ahead.
So anyway, I tried to call him back an hour later because I had to arrange to... We're 6 hours away.
Let me ask you a question. Cut to the chase. You sent him the $1,500?
I wanted to drive up there and pick it up. That way, I give you the money, I got the book. It didn't happen. Due to my job and maybe his, I don't know, we couldn't get together. On the 22nd, he called up and talked to my wife. He said that he was going to send the comic down to us. If I liked it, I could send him the monny. I thought, well, that's an incredibly generous offer. On the 25th, we got a call back that said his wife wouldn't let him send the book. Not without it being paid for.
Sure. Right?
Can't blame
a lot
that.
of scammers out there.
Shh.
Sorry.
During that conversation, I said, well, I believed he had this book, that it was a 9.9 graded book. We arranged to wire the money. and that cost $109 actually, plus the $20 shipping.
Still would
in the
be
book.
nothing if you could sell it for 20 grand.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, my wife is sitting there, and you're thinking I'm a nut and stuff, but I don't spend $1,500 on a comic. I never have. In this case, I would, and the only way my wife would let me do that was I said, look it, I sell the comic, you keep the money. So anyway, I proceeded to wire Ray the money.
Sounds like she's the only one who's got a brain here.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Raymond DiNardo, when he bought an Incredible Hulk comic book from him on eBay.
You wired the money, sent you the comic book, and it wasn't what you thought it was.
What it is just a strictly graded, and I could consider myself a professional grader. This book grades very good to fine condition. On a scale of 1 to 10, the 9.9 is on a scale of 10. This is about a 5.5. Its value is about $300.
And so you contacted him immediately and said, send me my money back.
Yeah, I said, I don't know,
When you put this 9.9 comic book on eBay, did you or did you not own it at the time you put it on eBay?
I did not.
Right. How could you offer to sell something that you didn't own?
Because I was supposed to own it by the end of the bidding time, but that deal fell through. So that's where the problem is.
That's a big problem.
Correct.
You can't put something on eBay that you don't own.
Why can't I?
Why? Because that's
Dealerships
like
put
that.
cars on eBay that are on consignment. They technically do not own the vehicle.
Having something on consignment, sir, is having a legitimate right to sell it.
Okay.
You don't have a legitimate right to offer something for sale that you don't own.
Okay.
And they just so happen to say, I will sell you this 9.9, and it happened to be the same comic book that you had that was that one, right? Same comic book, different condition, right?
Correct.
Karnak. What are the statistical probabilities of one schlepper who knows nothing about comic books having a nexus to two of the same comic books, The Incredible Hulk, at the same moment in history, and putting them on eBay at the same moment in history, one that's worth $300 and one that's worth $20,000? 1 in 10 million? More than that.
They're
1 in, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to my friend over here.
I thought
1 in 20 million?
Probably more than that.
So now I want you, Mr. DiNardo, to reduce what Bird, who is a very conservative man, by the way, has calculated at a 1 in 20 million plus probability of you having your hands on the same two magazines at the same moment in history when he wanted to buy it. Reduce that for me.
Okay. Actually, it was a week apart, but I had no idea that somebody that had sold so many comic books would think that he would be getting a $1,500 comic book that was sold for $20,000. It just did. I assumed that he was talking about the comic book that I originally had sold. It just doesn't make any sense that he would think, oh, okay, this comic book I'm getting for $1,500, and I'm going to make $18,000 off of that. Does that make any sense? It doesn't. He went behind eBay's back, which is illegal,
Just a second, did you hang up the phone on him?
No, I did not. But he's already admitted
Listen to me.
malice.
Listen to me. No, he just thought you were a schlemiel.
Uh-oh.
He just thought you were a schlemiel. He didn't realize that you were a scam artist. There's a difference between being a schlemiel and a scam artist. Let's say you go into somebody's house that's having a tag sale and you see this comic book in a big old bin of junk that they say, listen, you can buy the whole barrel of stuff for $10. He says, I'm spending $10. This is worth $20,000. That's how a lot of people get paintings and wonderful pieces of antique stuff, because one man's treasure is another man's junk. You see, me, I wouldn't pay a quarter for this because it just doesn't appeal to me, right? Your wife wouldn't pay a quarter for this unless you told her you'd give her the profit. Because she's just not interested. But what you did, sir, you see the statistical probabilities of you auctioning off around the same time two of the exact same magazines and one of the ads, putting down here. You have the other ad, by the way?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. You don't. Why wouldn't you have the other ad?
Because I moved and the computer.
Because you moved. Where?
It's
Move.
on eBay.
Listen
file.
to me. Listen to me, sir. Move on this.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,500.
Excuse me, can I have
That's
the
all.
comic, Can I have the comic book
Bye.
back?
Parties are excused. You missed up.
Can I have the comic book back?
You may not.
Okay, thank you. Well, I had a client at work that was willing to sell me the book for $3,000.
I was told there is only one in existence. It's owned by a comic shop in Hawaii. Its asking price is $50,000.
Never sold a comic book, never used the eBay before, never sold or bought, and will probably not again.
It's all a scam.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lopez versus Valladares, step forward, please.
25-year-old nurse's aide, Karina Lopez, is suing her former friend, 27-year-old nursing attendant, City of Valladares, for ripping the seat of her car. Karina says the incident took place during a night of drinking and clubbing.
Ms. Lopez, on the 15th of January, you, the defendant, and a bunch of other friends decided to go clubbing. You met at somebody's house. According to you, the defendant started to drink. She also took some medication. She said she had a headache. She got very drunk. You went to the club. You drove in your car. The defendant tried to get into the club, and she was denied entrance to the club because, according to, I think, both of you, she was too drunk. They wouldn't let her in. So you put her in your car.
Right.
To sleep it off, and you went in with your friends to the club. And when you came out of the club, you found the defendant still in your car, and the seat in the car was cut. She says she doesn't remember doing anything to your car and doesn't know how that damage occurred. Do you have pictures of the car?
Yes, I do.
Let me see it. Now, is this on the front passenger seat or the rear
front passenger seat?
Is that the seat that she was sitting with driving to the club?
No.
Who was sitting in that passenger seat?
Miss Hara.
That's this lady?
Yes.
Okay. When she exited the car, what time was it?
Miss Hara, it was 10:30.
At night?
Right.
Dark?
Yes.
And you didn't examine the car when she left?
No.
Did you examine the car before she got into the car at 10:30?
Yes.
You looked in the car seat? Don't say anything that's not true. If you say anything that's not true, I will hold that suspect. If something doesn't make sense, it's usually not true. Do you understand?
Yes.
Where did you find Miss Valladares?
Yes.
When you came back to the car 2.5 hours later, where was she seated?
In the front passenger seat.
And what was she doing?
Sleeping.
Did you see any sharp objects in her hand?
No.
Did you see what had caused the damage to the car?
No.
Did anyone see what had caused the damage to the car?
No.
So how do you intend to prove that the defendant caused the damage to the car?
Well,
This looks like a tear. Looks like something got caught on it. That's what it looks like. It looks like something got caught on it.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to prove that she did it?
Well, before leaving for the club, Ms. Valladares and I met at Ms. Hara's residence, where Ms. Valladares had some alcohol drinks.
She's drunk. I've already laid the framework. She was drunk. You knew she was drunk. You went to the club. They wouldn't let her in. You put her in the car. You came out. She was still sitting, according to you, in the front seat of the car. And later on, you noticed the car was ripped.
As we helped Ms. Valladares exit the car, that's when I realized that it was a tear on the seat.
And you saw no sharp objects in her hand?
No. I did not search Ms. Valladares. I don't know what happened. All I know is that the tear was not there.
No, all you know is the tear was not there when she got into the car.
Right. Ms. Valladares was also experiencing a lot of pain. The reason why she took the pain reliever is because she had gotten her tongue pierced the previous day.
What does that have to do with, what does that have to do
well,
with
I'm assuming that maybe she was in a lot of pain, and I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know how it happened. Neither do you.
Your Honor, may I come up?
Sure.
When we went to drop off Cyria to the car when Cyria let her inside the club, the tear wasn't there.
You don't know that at all.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I helped Karina put her
You don't know that
car.
at all. Madam,
it
listen to me.
There.
10:30 at night. It's dark. She's
dark.
getting into the car. You're struggling to get somebody who's drunk in the car. Don't lie. Miss Valladares says that you took her property and refused to give her back her property, her pocketbook, her keys, her cell phone, unless she agreed to pay for this. Did you do that?
No, Your Honor. Ms. Valladares left her property behind in my car. She called me later on the following day and said she would come by and pick up her belongings. She never showed up. On the 17th, I offered to deliver her belongings to her. She said she had a lot of things to do and was going to be unavailable that day. On the 22nd, when I finally seen her, I delivered all her belongings to her.
Were the police called at any point?
Yes.
Did you call the police?
Yes, Your Honor.
Police contact you?
Yes.
They told you you had to give her property back?
No, they contacted me because the police officers said that Ms. Valladares feared for her safety at work. That's what I was told.
At that point, did you give her back her property?
On the 22nd, when I finally seen her.
Just answer my question. After the police spoke to you, did you give her back her property?
No, they didn't ask for it, and they did not want to take possession of her property. I offered to give her property to the police officer because I was unable to contact Ms. Valladares.
Okay. Get a patch for the seat, madam. You cannot establish that, to my satisfaction, that she caused the damage to your car, and you have no right to take her property and hold it hostage. That's all.
Well, you're excused. You may step out.
I was just going out to have fun with somebody, and because I felt that I could trust her.
When Ms. Valladares exited the car, I seen the tear.
She said that somebody was going to get killed if I didn't pay for her car.
Not true.
We don't have a friendship no more. I thought she was a good friend before, but apparently not.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Velasquez versus Flores. Step forward, please.
24-year-old hotel manager Andrea Velasquez is suing her former friend, 24-year-old pharmacy technician Lizette Flores, for the cost of a gym membership. Lizette says she never signed a contract.
Ms. Velasquez, according to what I read in your complaint, you and the defendant were very good friends, and for a period of time you lived with the defendant at her parents' home.
Correct.
And at some point you decided to go and sign up for a gym membership.
Correct.
You did sign up for you and the defendant.
That's right.
She went a couple of times, decided she didn't like it, and didn't pay for her membership. You want her portion of the membership that you signed on for because they're coming after you for that amount of money.
That's correct.
Ms. Flores says there was never an agreement between the two of you that she was supposed to pay for this gym membership, and she honestly believed that you were buying this membership for her as a repayment for living with her family, I assume rent-free, for how long?
2 years.
2 years. What were you doing living with her family for 2 years?
I got out of a bad situation with somebody, and so did she, and then her parents were moving. We all agreed to chip into an apartment together. I paid rent every single month the 2 years that I was there to her
how much
father.
money did you pay?
$100 a month.
Now tell me about this gym membership.
I was attending Fullerton College. Her and I had previously discussed signing the gym together. I said, okay, I went to school. They had a membership deal, so...
You went to school on what date?
January 31st of 2002 is when I signed up.
So you signed up for the two of you?
Correct.
Can I see the contract that you signed?
Yeah. This is my contract. This is her contract that I signed for her.
So you signed both of these contracts?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you tell the defendant about the contract?
When I came home that night.
What did you tell her?
I presented her the contract. I let her know that I did sign up for her. She had 3 days to cancel. I let her know if she did not want the contract, please let me know within these 3 days so I can go ahead and cancel it. It'll come off my credit. She said, yeah, that's fine. We went over the contract together. 2 days later, we went to the gym. We actually took our photo IDs together, and she was supposed to put everything under her name. But I didn't feel confident enough in her because she was barely trying to establish credit. And I kept it under my credit as long as I told her, just as long as you pay for it, give me the checks monthly. She agreed to that.
There was nothing here with her name on it.
Well, it's because it's under mine. She never transferred. If you look on the original contract, it's all under my name, and underneath it says her name, Lizette Ramos.
I understand that, madam. But you bring me what this credit history is and the amount of payment.
Correct.
And this says what all the payments are up and from the very beginning. Now, what I say to you is, show me your payment history.
I don't have that with me.
She says that you weren't paying yours. So, wouldn't it strike you, since you signed up for the two of you at the same time, wouldn't you think that the smart thing to do was to bring something that showed your payments of $29 for your account and her payments for $29 on her account, since there's absolutely nothing here that suggests that this is her membership?
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I understand.
All right, now, let's get to you. When she came home that night and said she had signed you up, what did you say to her?
I took it as a gift. I said, thanks.
Well, what did she say to you?
She said, hey, I got us memberships to the gym. You just have to promise me you have to work out with me. I said, okay, that's fine. And we actually worked out for 3 days. And on the third day at the gym, she found out she was pregnant. She took a home pregnancy test at the gym. So we went home that day. We stopped going. I stopped going as well.
Did you stop going to the gym at that point?
I kept going.
No, she didn't.
We weren't friends, was that?
Just a second.
Oh, you were living at my house.
You have two problems with me. First of all, you did not have her consent at the time that you signed up for the membership. And second, you don't have anything to show me that this collection letter is on the second membership rather than on the first. And I assume you could have gotten the same printout on yours, right?
Correct.
Well, then you have a problem. You have a problem of proof with me. In any event, there was no contract entered into between the two of you at the time that you signed her up for this membership. She's not responsible for the membership. When you got pregnant and you took the pregnancy test and you went home, which I believe probably happened, did you expect her to remain a gym member and keep going to the gym without you?
Well, yeah, she agreed to the contract.
You know, I agreed to her promising her.
Sorry, babe. She doesn't owe you any money.
She had married an illegal alien. He paid her off, and her family is Christian, so they disowned her.
Actually, I moved out of my house on my own will, and I decided we moved together. We were good friends then. At least I thought we were.
They kicked her out of her house. She came living with us, and my parents, they treated her as their daughter.
Well, she slept with a couple of my ex-boyfriends behind my back while we were living together, and who needs a friend like that?
Glad she lives in misery in the trailer park with a husband that beats her, so that's good enough for me.
And an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Case 2097, Duran versus Shaw.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Duran, the defendant is the property manager at a place where you used to live.
Yes.
And you are suing her for evicting you from that place. You want a whole bunch of money. You're suing her for $10,000 for your moving expenses, for assault, for emotional distress because you had to move. Ms. Shaw says that your behavior caused you to be evicted. You violated the rules, and that's why you were served notice of eviction. So first, let me know when you started living at the property that is managed by the defendant.
In 2018.
Did you have a lease?
Yes, I did.
Do you have a copy of that lease with you?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Okay, so this initial lease was August of 2019, and it terminated on July 31st, 2020. It provided for 3 people to live in the apartment. Okay, and was the lease renewed?
Nope.
Okay, and so then you became a month-to-month tenant?
Yes.
And that was in February of 2020?
They also increased the rent.
That's okay, they're allowed to do that. That's a business.
No, I know.
They're allowed to do that. When your lease was extended on a month-to-month basis after February of 2020, would you tell me if the same people lived in the apartment as were on the original lease?
No.
So more people moved in?
Yes.
Who?
That would be my sisters and my mother.
Sisters?
Yes.
2 sisters?
Yes.
And when did they move in?
Maybe about, maybe 2020, maybe? Couldn't really be positive.
So that would have been in violation of your original lease?
Yes.
And it was an apartment that you were renting? And the apartment complex has a pool?
Yes, it does.
And the incident around, circumstances surrounding this eviction that was served on you, that happened in what month and year?
It was in June of this year.
How long, Ms. Shaw, have you been the property manager?
Since
the end of November of last year.
November of 2021?
Yes.
And in November of 2021, did you know that there were additional people living in the house?
Yes.
And didn't tell her that they had to vacate, that it was in violation of the terms of her underlying lease?
I had that morning, actually, when the confrontation happened.
No, I'm talking about, pay attention. My question was, did you register any complaint with the plaintiff about the additional people living there? Be very careful that you tell me the truth, because I know that you think you may know where I'm going, but you don't. Did you make any complaint to her November, December, January, February, March, April, or May? The answer is either yes or no about the other people living in the house.
No.
So I guess I'm going to start with you, because an incident occurred that resulted in her being evicted, that you're serving her with a notice of eviction.
Right.
Tell me when that took place, because I have to know what your reason was. That's a fair statement.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
So in June 22, like I said, that morning I had served.
What morning?
June 21st or something, I believe.
What kind of letter were you serving on her?
I just gave them, mine is, it's just a complaint notice, you know, saying that.
Do you have a copy of that?
I may.
Do you know what she's talking about?
Yes, I have a copy.
I'd like to see it.
There you go.
Okay, well, this is a letter that says you and your company were eating and drinking in the pool area. Even after I told them to stop, that it wasn't allowed, they did not stop. And there is absolutely no eating or drinking in the pool area. Okay, so that's the letter she served to you. And that was on June 21st.
That's the letter she
Now, who was eating and drinking in the pool?
That would be my sister.
That wasn't just your sister.
No, it was her and her friend.
No, just a second. Let's get it together. So your sister, who wasn't supposed to be there, but they sort of let that skate.
Oh.
Who wasn't supposed to be there.
Okay.
Okay, so your sister and who else?
That would be my sister, her boyfriend, and 2 of her friends, or 3 of her friends, I think.
Had they ever been to the pool before?
My sister has, but not her friends.
So the person who wasn't supposed to be living with you, that's your sister.
Yes.
Invited her boyfriend and 3 other friends to the pool.
She called and asked if it was okay first.
She asked you?
Yes.
And you said fine?
Yes.
You didn't call the manager?
No.
Okay. And you are aware that there's no eating and drinking in the pool?
That's not what it says on my lease.
Is that what it says at the pool?
Nope.
Does it say anywhere in the house rules?
Nope.
Nope, it's not an answer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The answer is no.
No, ma'am, it is not.
No. Now, when you've been living there for a long time, do you use the pool?
Yes, I do.
Ever had any trouble in the time from November of last year? Ever had any complaint?
Nope.
Nope is not an
sorry,
answer.
Sorry.
No
I'm
is
sorry.
the answer. No, no complaint.
Okay, no, sorry.
Okay. And did you discuss with your sister and her friends that there were any rules that she had to abide by?
No, I did not, because I was not home yet.
Stand up. First name is?
Aaliyah.
You were their boyfriend and 3 girlfriends. Any children?
No.
You know this lady?
Yes.
What happened when she came to tell you that there was no eating or drinking at the pool?
So we were standing...
Just what happened when she told you?
She came screaming at us, telling us that we needed to get the food out and that we needed to go.
Get the food out. What kind of food had you
brought in?
brought
It was just pizza and like a soda and water.
So it wasn't a piece of fruit. You were having a meal there, pizza and food. Had you ever seen your sister bring food into the pool area?
Snacks, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not talking about snacks. Did she ever bring food into the pool area?
No.
What prompted you to order food into the pool area?
It was a hot day and we were hungry, and I'm not sure.
You asked your sister if it was okay if you and your friends came.
Yes.
Since you never saw anybody, because usually there are signs posted around a pool. I've lived in enough places to know, and the pool signs usually say no jumping in the pool, no food or drink around the pool, right?
Yes.
Most pools say that.
Yes.
Did this pool say that?
It just said, like you said, no jumping in the pool, no diving, to come into the pool, but it never said nothing about food, drinks, nothing like that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So now you please establish to me, Miss Shaw, that there was notice that there was no food and drink at the pool.
Their pool addendum.
May I see?
And then also no guest addendum.
Just a second.
It's all part of their...
Hold on. You're Melissa Duran.
Yes, I am.
And that's your signature?
Yes.
Yes. The pool is reserved exclusively for the use of residents of the building. That's what it says.
Okay.
That's what you signed. No diving in the pool area, no intoxicated persons. Okay. I just want you to show me here, first of all, the only thing that they are violating is that pool is reserved exclusively for the residents of the building. That's in here, but I don't see anything about food.
The new pool addendum wasn't part of their contract. So when we put out the new one, it was for more updated tenants, but we didn't serve them on the food, we served them on the guests.
Is what you're saying to me, the only thing that she signed is this, and there is no sign around the pool that says no eating or drinking.
There is a sign by the pool.
Do you have a copy of it?
I don't have a copy of that.
Why not?
I texted her that I was sorry that they had food in the pool, and I did not know that.
So that you knew they weren't supposed to have food in the pool?
Yeah, but I didn't know they bring it.
Just a second.
Melissa Duran claims her former property manager, Tracy Shaw, owes for a wrongful eviction and an assault.
Okay, go ahead.
Because she had moved in prior to them changing the pool addendum, I posted the new pool addendum on all of the doors, and I have actually text messages of Melissa asking me, can we, the no floaties? And I said, well, of course,
may I?
For children and whatnot, but not big floaties. Okay. So she was acknowledging the pool addendum that I had.
That I'll see. Now, she's going to show me your text messages to her.
Yes.
So you received the revised pool rules?
Yes.
And did the new pool rules say anything about guests?
No, it did not.
So if it said nothing about guests, you originally said that the pool is specifically reserved for residents of the complex.
Yes.
And according to you, the new pool rules, do they talk about having floaties in the pool?
Yes, it did.
Did it talk about having guests at the pool?
Yeah, actually it did.
And what did it say?
There was no problem, just like on the original lease.
No.
Fine to have guests in the pool.
No, that's not what this says. This says that the pool is reserved for residents of the building only.
Well, we were already told before that it was fine to have guests.
This is the contract that you signed.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. So this is the first one that you signed, this one.
Mm-hmm.
And absent anything else, this says no guests at the pool. This says residents only.
Okay.
You say that it was the new rules allow you to have guests, or were they silent?
There was nothing on there saying that you cannot have guests. It was mainly just saying that you cannot have floaties, you cannot jump or run into the pool.
Just a second. Did it say anything about food?
No.
Is there a new sign posted around the pool that talks about food?
No, it does
All
not.
I want to see is, Miss Shaw, something in the new rules that talks about food. And I'm getting very bored with this. Now, when Miss Shaw came over and told you you couldn't have food, you had to get rid of the food, about what time was that?
Probably like 5, 6, I'm not exactly too sure.
And when had this food and stuff arrived? Was it?
We brought it. We were coming in with the food. We walked in with the food. I'm pretty sure she's
Just a
seen
second.
this.
So you and your group, 5 people, walked in with dinner to the pool area. And did the dinner include any alcoholic beverages like beer?
No.
What kind of drinks were there?
It was Pepsi. It was soda.
And what happened when Miss Shaw came over and told you weren't allowed to have the food at the pool?
She came very aggressively.
She came aggressively and she said you're not allowed.
She stormed out and screamed, get the food out and you guys need to leave.
And so what did you do?
I told her, okay, I'd get the food out, and I made a call to my sister to come help me with the food. And as we were packaging...
Where was your sister?
She was upstairs.
So when you came out with the food, you came out of the apartment?
No, we had just gotten there. We were coming from another pool area that wasn't
What other
open.
pool area?
My boyfriend's friend. We were going to swim at his pool, but it wasn't available because there was too many people there.
Were you at your boyfriend's house during the day?
No, I was at school, and they were all at work, so we all just met up after everything.
Okay, so you were asked by Miss Shaw to get the food out, and then you called your sister.
Yes, and I told her.
And then what happened?
And I told her if she could come get the food while we swam, or if not, that we were going to leave.
Why didn't you just get out?
Well, because I was trying to help, because we were splitting the check through the money, so we're splitting the pizza, who's getting what, and
all of that. And before we even could leave, she stormed out again, screaming, saying, you guys are getting a notice, you guys are getting a notice, and running up the stairs to her because she was coming out. And she was like, hey, what's going on? And then she's like, you guys are getting a notice. I'm tired of everybody not listening and coming to me with your problems. And then my sister was like, whoa, hey, relax. I'm coming to get the food. And then she threw the paper and my sister backed up
Okay, so the letter, she gave your sister the letter.
It was a notice.
She gave you the paper that said, this is a complaint. There are people in the pool who are eating, drinking. They don't belong here. They're not, whatever. She said, here's your notice.
Yes.
Okay, and that was on the 21st of June. Then what happened?
Well, after she threw the paper at me, she turned back around, still yelling, and she stomped down the stairs, and I'm trying to tell her, you didn't give me time to come and get the food. And she ran back in her apartment and slammed her door.
And she went back to her apartment, and you went where?
Back into my house.
Okay, you went back into your house. And what did you do when you went back into your house?
When I got back there, I texted her, telling her that I was sorry that they had food in the pool, and I did not know that because I did not know at the time.
Just a second. So, Ms. Duran, let's cut to the chase, so that you knew they weren't supposed to have food in the pool, only snacks.
Yeah, but I didn't know they bring it.
Just a second. That's not what I asked you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You knew that there was no food in the pool, only water and snacks.
Okay, yes.
So you knew that.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Now, if you know that, and you have given, I'm just telling you what the law is. Mm-hmm. If you know that there is a rule, and you don't convey that, that's your problem. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so that's June 21st, when guests that you agreed to have in the pool, you didn't know that there was food there. You knew that there wasn't supposed to be food there. That knowledge is imparted to your guests. That's a legal assumption. I want to know what happened after June 21st. When were you served with a 3-day notice to quit?
I believe it was on the 24th.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. I have 3 of the same. They sent me 3 of them.
I just have to see one. Did the attorney, who you say you gave by a cash app, return any of the money? Okay, well, you served this 3-day notice to quit, Ms. Shaw, and in it, you are alleging threatens to commit a crime. So I assume that the person, it talks about a statement, threatens to commit a crime. I assume that the threat was directed to you. Yes. In any event, you were given a 3-day notice to quit, but actually you managed to get that extended to 30 days.
Yes.
And one of the things that you had to do was to hire an attorney.
Yes.
And when you hired an attorney, did you hire an attorney and pay a retainer?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay. I'd like to see proof of what you paid the attorney.
I don't think I bring the one that pertained to the lawyer. What I do have is him finding out what the criminal act was.
No. You're a month-to-month tenant.
Yes.
Landlord has a right to give you a 30-day notice and say you have to quit the premises. You have no legal right to be there. My only question is, you were not given 30 days notice. You were given a 3-day notice, and I'm not actually convinced that there was a basis to give you a 3-day notice. If I called him, would he tell me that you paid him?
Yes.
Melissa Duran has accused her former property manager, Tracy Shaw, of wrongfully evicting her. Tracy claims Melissa was violating apartment rules.
Now, if you got 30 days, and the reason you got 30 days is because you retained an attorney, I'm prepared to look to see how much you paid the attorney, because that's an expense that you have that you wouldn't have had but for the 3-day notice to quit. They're entitled to tell you to leave. I mean, You're there with too many people living in the apartment. They've already had a kerfuffle because you allowed your sister and her boyfriend and friends to come to the pool. They were told no food. They ignored them. But I don't think any of that rises to the level of grounds to give you a 3-day notice to quit. I think that if they want to tell you that you have to be out in 30 days, that's reasonable, but they didn't. They gave you a 3-day notice forcing you to hire an attorney. I'm prepared to give you the attorney's fees if you prove to me that you paid an attorney.
I do have proof of that, but I do not have it with me.
Okay. And how much did you pay him? That's an easy thing for me to verify.
I believe it was $1,200.
I want you to think about it carefully.
No, it was $1,200 because he had lowered it. He lowered it from $1,400 to $1,200.
And you paid him by check or cash?
I paid him in Cash App. Is the only way I could
Did he go to court with you?
We haven't, this is the first court we have been to.
So how did he get you 30 days?
Because I got the 3-day notice and it kept saying I committed a criminal act.
Okay,
So that was the reason why I obtained the lawyer, so he can find out what the criminal act was.
And just by phone calls, he got them to extend it to 30 days. So
Yes.
you were never in, and you left after the 30 days.
I left before the 30. I left on August 1st.
Okay. And where did you go?
I had to move all the way to Atwater, California.
Is that where you live now?
Yes, it is.
And who lives with you?
My husband and my young son. That's it, just the 3 of us. We moved into a smaller, more expensive place.
Okay, and you left your sisters?
And my mother.
And your mother.
They are somewhere completely different.
Okay, what do you...
This is in their lease about disturbances and threats.
Listen, I've already made a determination that the 3-day notice should have been a 30-day notice to leave. I don't think that anything that I've heard today rises to the level of giving people who've been in the apartment as long as they had, especially over pizza, requires a 3-day notice. So the only question that I'm entertaining on behalf of the plaintiff and the only monetary award that I'm going to contemplate are attorney's fees. Did the attorney, who you say you gave by a cash app, return any of the money since he never had to go to court for you?
No, he did not.
Just a second. If I called him right now, would he tell me that you paid him $1,200?
Yes, he would. Yes, he would. Though what I was going to tell you is that I did not have enough to pay him completely. I still owe him $250.
So you didn't pay him. So you paid him $950.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry.
What do you mean,
I
okay?
didn't. No, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't.
So you paid him $950?
Yes.
I'm awarding you $950, which are your attorney's fees, for the reason that, I'm speaking, for the reasons that I've stated, because they have an absolute right to give you a 30-day notice, tell you to leave, and there was a basis for it, actually. And you know, there was a basis for saying your guests, which is you, are not abiding by the rules. You're a month-to-month tenant. Right now, we do not intend to keep you as a tenant. We're giving you 30 days notice to find another place. I think that would have been absolutely a problem. Speaking would have been absolutely appropriate. I think a 3-day notice to quit was inappropriate given the level of infraction. So I'm awarding you the counsel fees because that's what it took to get you your 30 days. This case is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I'm disappointed in the decision.
Her actions of her aggression, throwing something in my face, that was a little bit excessive.
I don't feel that I got to say more of the story that continued to happen.
Her actions caused me to get evicted in 3 days.
They have bad character, and so I don't think that I owe them anything.
I mean, I didn't think anything like what come to this, you know.
I'm just glad they're gone.
I'm happy to be out because I just really wanted her to be held responsible for what she did.
So a trend I've seen a lot here is plaintiffs suing for wrongful eviction when they're a month-to-month tenant. And from what I've learned in landlord-tenant law in New York, I know it varies a lot from state to state, is the landlord only has to give you as much notice as your term, which if you're a month-to-month tenant would be 30 days. So people have to really understand the legalese of their contract and of their lease, because if you feel like you're being wrongfully evicted as a month-to-month tenant, that's a different standard than if you have a standard year-long written lease.
Well, that's sort of the reason. I didn't think that the one instance that was raised was sufficient to give them a 3-day emergency notice to quit. Might have been enough, that coupled by the fact that there were too many people living in the apartment, to give them a 30-day notice. That is, you're right, it's your property. But I didn't think it rose to the level of a 3-day notice to quit for threats.
I didn't either, so I agreed with your $950 judgment for the attorney's fees.
Would have been happier if she had some sort of a receipt or something from her Cash App.